Kryptos, which I chose to ask Rock about. The source specifically mentioned that there is a link between that type of term and Q, or 17. An individual from the early 2000s worked for one of the agencies. This individual created what I assume are codes, but the source calls cryptos, and would often end them with the letter Q. Of philosophy, cryptos can refer to hidden or secret meanings, often associated with esoteric or mystical teachings. We have the context of history and archaeology. Cryptos can refer to hidden or secret historical events, artifacts, or sites, often discovered through excavation or research. And the first term is cryptos can refer to a sculpture by the American artist Jim Sanborn, located on the grounds of the CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia. The messages are encrypted using various cryptographic techniques, and as of 2024, only 3 of the 4 messages have been fully decrypted. So earlier I looked up the sculpture definition. So we have this article by John Swartz, which starts off, the creator of one of the world's most famous mysteries is giving obsessive fans a new clue. Kryptos, a sculpture in a courtyard at headquarters at CIA Langley, Virginia, holds encrypted message that has not fully yielded attempts to crack it. It's been nearly 30 years since its tall scroll of copper with thousands of punched-through letters was set in place. I mean, it's a relatively recent statue, placed in the 90s. 3 of the 4 passages of the sculpture have been decrypted, but after nearly 3 decades, one brief passage remains uncracked, and it has been a source of delight and consternation. The sculptor, Jim Sanborn, has been hounded for decades by code-breaking enthusiasts, and he has twice provided clues to move the community of would-be solvers along, once in 2010 and once again in 2014. Now he's offering another clue. The last one, he says, it is a word, northeast. Why do people care so much about a puzzle cut into a sheet of copper in a courtyard after so much time? It's not just that the piece itself has a kind of brooding, powerful beauty, or the fact that it's been referred to in novels by thriller writer Dan Brown. It's something deeper, something that involves the nature of the human mind, says Craig Bauer, professor of mathematics at York College of Pennsylvania and former scholar in residence at NSA Center for Cryptologic History. We have many problems that are difficult to resolve, intimidating, perhaps even scary. It gives people great pleasure to pick up one that they think they have a chance of solving. Okay, so I'll read to you the decoded passages. So this is what is known so far. So we have, between subtle shading and the absence of light lies the nuance of inclusion. But instead of an N, we have a letter Q, inclusion. Is there anything of note from this sentence? Any strange little thing? All right, continuing on. Here's a second one. Does Langley know about this? Should. It's buried out there somewhere. X. Who knows the exact location? Only WW. WW is a reference to William Webster, who headed the T_A when the sculpture was unveiled. Webster, who left in 1991, declined a request for an interview. Okay, and here's the third passage. So the last of the fully decrypted passages. Slowly and desperately slowly, the remains of the passage debris that encumbered the lower part of the doorway was removed. With trembling hands, I made a tiny breach in the upper left-hand corner, and then whitening the hole a little, I inserted the candle and peered in. The hot air escaping from the chamber caused the flame to flicker, but presently, details of the room within emerged from the mist. X. Can you see anything? Q. So yes, I find this very strange. We have letter X, and we have the letter Q. We have this platform called X. We have Elon Musk, who some are saying is playing a special leadership role in salvaging much of the Western world from the corrupt ones, calculated smash and grabs. And so I wonder, is this coded statue, the belly of the beast, a symbol, an anti-Georgia Stones monument to the code breakers and hidden patriots who knew a way to show us a clue, a calling card, so to speak, the specific letter of the alphabet? There's a claim in this article, which is originally a New York Times article here on the Seattle Times, that some code breakers may take things a little bit too seriously. It's mentioned by an Alanka Dunham, a game developer and consultant, that some who contact her also at home are obsessive and appear to have tipped into mental illness. She says, I'm always gentle to them and I do my best to listen to them. It seems like it's a little bit of a business. The Sanborn has set up systems to allow people to check their proposed solutions without having to contact him directly. Now it's like an email-based process with a fee of $50 to submit a potential solution. Supposedly, none of these solutions have been successful so far. And this article speaks to the code originator's fear of climate change and the rising of the ocean sea level. He wants money raised to go to fund climate science. He says it's like a no-brainer. We live on an island. And they comment that the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration has found that the Chesapeake Bay, where he lives, has the worst relative sea level rise, about 3.4 millimeters a year, twice the global rate. I know the concept of sea level rise depends on Arctic ice melt, and that concept has been controverted because of the recognition of periodic improvement of ice. This is especially evident at Antarctic perimeter within the Antarctic Circle. Here's a source of that. Shortly before the source I mentioned told me look into the term Kryptos, a different source referred me to this YouTube channel called Kevin King. And as you see, there is this Laughing Men logo. I was able to inquire about the connections of the Laughing Men to the mysterious group Cicada 3301. It was affirmed to me that there is a relationship between two, as well as the 17 movement, which started in 2017. Here's the first video on this account. And if you scroll through the video, you don't really have any visual change here. You have static bar. But changing volume each air type of static. And we have some numbers with some interspersed letters. Someone asks, so what's the translation? And then there's a response by this individual named Freddy936. We believe what the mind tells us because our inner ghosts do too. We are all descendants of the first atoms in mitochondrial Eve. Trust in the brightest light. It will not blind you, but will grant you grace and healing through love. To everyone in pain, believe in yourself. We are not defined by our memories, but by our actions. Everyone needs stars, birds, insects, and wild animals like foxes, rabbits, lions, bears, and wolves. Golden apples and dragons of iron and brass exist together in harmony. Okay, so just explain to you what I think, not necessarily on this channel, but what I think about the Kryptos search. I think it's highly unusual that this letter appears here. I speculate that we could live in a multi-potential reality with numerous endlessly dividing timelines, and as soon as we receive a certain piece of information that evokes curiosity, causing us to seek out relevant connections, that acts as a waypoint that may allow us to shift to a slightly different variation of reality. And depending on how rapidly we are assimilating new concepts and asking new questions based on introduced concepts, the way the events occur around us evolve in their overall emotional tone and appearance. At this point, it's unclear to me if the mindset of the curiosity is what determines the positive versus negative or ill appearance of the events. If I'm so able, I intend to expound more in future video explanation of this theory and what I mean. Together we'll see how this goes. Thanks for watching.